This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. And
boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh boy! Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Above average.
You like that? You like that?
Think I don't.
That is a cold-blooded connection.
We'll head to Buffalo, play on the road. I think the weather, of course, having spent a lot of time in Minnesota, I understand the weather pattern. Pick up the Calcutta Clipper, swings down, swings up, lakefront influence, and out. I think we'll probably have about 45-degree weather, so it will not be a typical October 31st in Buffalo.
Always a plus.
Brett Favre said, I'm tired of Brett Favre. He has no chance.
Cam Dantzler, what are you doing?
Time for two more questions, guys.
A dog with a note in his mouth should be able to sell those ratings.
The Lions are a terrible team and a terrible city. No terrible fans. And a terrible stadium. A terrible uniform. A terrible cheerleader.
How you like me now? How you like me now?
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Hey, it's time for the Glum. Oh, boy. Coming your way in 5, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more. Thank you. More than 4 greetings. Good afternoon, and Dak, to and yours. Promises to be a fast-paced, action-packed, and what? Well, as always, controversial Common Man program. I wanted to actually, there are plenty of topics to get to today. The Vikings take on the Lions in a game that really, I think the Vikings season, I don't think this is going out on a limb there. Well, it kind of hangs in the balance with the result. World Series, thrilling again last night. Excellent game. Toronto evens it at 2 games apiece. Wild just can't seem to get out of their own way. They lose again. The Wolves will be back in action as well. So many topics to get to. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel of topic.
Commons golf game.
Well, there's not a lot there to chew on.
What'd you shoot today?
Sloppy 81.
Where'd we play?
Loggers Trail.
Where'd you hit it on one?
Oh, perfect. Right up the gut.
How far from the green were you?
Had a 123 to the flag.
Second shot?
I knocked it on the green. Left.
Right or left?
Left. It was
Then what?
20 feet for birdie. Just missed. Made par.
Incredible.
Just got sloppy. It happens. Sometimes you play too. I don't know, Teddy, you probably have never had this problem. I'm playing too much golf, I think.
I call that a good problem to have.
I played 36 yesterday. I was the first person to tee off the Royal yesterday. I was also the last person to drive the cart back into the cart barn. And in both cases, I was a tale of two nines. I was brilliant for one nine and brutal for another. That front side at the Royal gets me. Even though it's not number 5, that hole used to vex me. That's the one where you're up on top, you hit it down in the landing area. It's a forced carry over water, but if you hit a good drive, you have a short iron in your hand. Now I'm hitting my driver so well, I have a short iron in my hand rather than having like a 6 or something. So,
I don't remember much about Royal Club other than the first hole. I feel like it's a very challenging first hole.
Well, the whole course is challenging. Yeah, it is. There's water down the left side, and there's a fairway bunker up on the right, just past the landing area. I can't reach that, so I never have to concern myself with that. It's the king and the queen, we call it. But I had a sloppy bogey on a double bogey on 7, just sloppy. And sometimes I just don't commit. Do you ever have a problem committing to the putt where you just kind of give up on it at the last second and then you kind of just leave it outright? I did that like 3 or 4 times today. Just don't want to commit to it. Just follow through on your putt. You have to follow through on every club, including
lacking confidence.
Yeah, and I don't know why I would, because I putt better than 75, 80% of the players on tour. So, but anyways, it was fun. The season is coming to a close. Again, as long as there's no snow on the ground, there are a handful of courses that will open up. It's always the frost issue. I'll always have people tell me, should be golfing today. It's going to be 50 today. The daytime high matters not to me. It's inconsequential. It's what will it be like at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 when I have to tee off. If there's frost, I don't play. If there's not, I do. So the official and unofficial ambassador of Minnesota Golf will continue to play as much golf as he can because it's part of my responsibilities. What I really wanted to do today, Teddy, is I wanted to talk about something we haven't discussed in a long time, and that would be the Vikings quarterback situation. Now, I'm just kidding. Though I did see, what do we call, did we ever come up with a name? PA's texted turnovers or turnover texts. That sounds okay, doesn't it?
You want the text version of this.
Time now for Paul's
Intercepted!
emails. Now with a look inside the inbox of Vox, here's the Common Man.
Now, Viking fans have turned on the club. It's amazing how, it's, what I call it, tend to be? I call it bandwagon. It really is. I mean, guys are laying on the line. Guys are in the training room. Guys have contraptions on their shoulders. Guys have fractured shoulder sockets. Guys have torn labrums. They're laying it on the line. Dislocated shoulders. They're laying it on the line. How about this one? I can tell by the tenor of these text messages, PA was extolling the virtues of J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, shocking.
How great it's going to be. This one says, if J.J. has time, Talker is coming back. Tell me what QB can't dissect a defense if they have time. Any wide receiver could get open if you give him 10 seconds. You said the same thing about Kirk. Give him time and he can pick you apart. Yeah, anyone can, LOL. The best QBs find a wide receiver or a first down when you don't have time, which is absolutely true.
Correct.
Because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Every guy that's playing quarterback in the National Football League has skills, even the backup guys, the Carson Wentzes of the world. It's just that there is a pecking order, and some of them are obviously much better than others. But most of these guys, if you give them time to throw, they can throw dimes, right? They got strong arms. They all had success at the position. You don't get elevated into the National Football League unless you were pretty good at the Pop Warner level, the Howard Pulley level, the Coon Rapids Athletic Association level, which I played I would play both sides of the ball. I didn't play quarterback, but I was a precise route running, sure-handed pass catching tight end and a fierce pass rushing, Rock of Gibraltar run stopping defensive lineman. But yeah, these guys can all. It's
Pat Mahomes doesn't get perfect protection all the time.
No, when you watch, matter of fact, watch this Sunday when you watch the Kitties destroy when you see the Vikings and the Lions play. Watch how quickly Jared Goff gets rid of the football.
Yes.
Now he gets sacked and he when he has to leave the pocket and run, he looks like a newborn baby giraffe, right?
He's not mobile.
No. But he gets rid of the ball quickly and he's on target. And that's the whole key. And you see it with quarterbacks all the time. Caleb Williams' problem last year, if you remember, Tenneby, just hanging on to the ball too long. As a matter of fact, the head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings, remember when he said maybe this time off for McCarthy with the high ankle sprain will benefit him because then he can watch Carson Wentz and see how advantageous it is to get rid of the ball right away because Wentz can do that as well. Now, Wentz also took a number of sacks, but I think in those cases, he didn't really have a chance to get rid of the ball. Mm-hmm. His offensive line was so beaten and battered, almost as if I would compare it to like having a torn labrum or a shattered shoulder socket, fractured a shoulder socket. But yeah,
that was the point I was going to bring up. If PA said if he has time, that's a big if.
That is the big if. That is it. Here's another one. This is from John the mail carrier. I get it. I get it's easy to dump on Sam. I did too. But 19, they must be talking about Sammy. Old Sam Darnold had an arm, E-I-E-I-O, with a tutty here and a tutty there, here a tutty, there a tutty, every once in a while a pick six. Old Sam Darnold has an arm, E-I-E-I-O. It says, but 19-5 in his last 24 regular season games. McCarthy's played well for 10 minutes in the Bears game. I hope he can play and make us forget about what a 4,300-yard, 35 tutty quarterback looks like. And I do too, and I think we all do. And I am anxious to see him play now again with hopefully with an ankle that's 100%, a fresh perspective, having watched the game from the sidelines now again for, is it 5 games he missed, right? He played the first 2, we played 7.
Yeah.
So 5 games he's watched from the sideline. He's been in the QB room. He's had the quarterback whisperer trying to realign his eyes and his feet. It's a tough task with Detroit. The defense, despite the fact they were missing not one player, not one member of the secondary for Detroit against Tampa Bay last week was a starter when the season began. And they played very well in the secondary, holding Tampa Bay to 9 points. So Lions are getting a little bit healthier. They had the bye week, so they're probably in a pretty good spot right now. The Lions den's a tough place to play. In the past, it wasn't, but we know it's a different Lions team now and has been for the last 3-4 years. So we'll dive deeper into that. We have Rock Talk and Rock Rank. Rock Talk coming up with Brian Oak at 12:30. Head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings will have his news conference. We'll have that for you during the 1 o'clock hour. And the legendary one, Mark Rosen, will join us just before 2 o'clock. That and so much more, including 534 and a keyword from Tennessee. It's our national cash contest.
Yeah, the fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword money at KFAN.com right now for your shot at winning. The keyword is money. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Clap.
Baby's crying, that's normal, but if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to step away. Never shake a baby. Shaking can kill, and 1 in 4 don't survive. Survivors often face permanent brain damage. Learn more and give the day at nevershakemn.com.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Tennessee. Time now for Peek at the Purple. Brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. If you're planning a kitchen or basement remodel this fall, let the professionals at Affordable Electric handle the wiring. They do it safely, neatly, and of course up to code. They work directly with homeowners and contractors across the Twin Towns. to keep every project on schedule. Affordable Electric, where quality means affordability. Visit affordable-electric.com today. Affordable-electric.com today. And remember, Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. I do see where the Vikings, now that Carson Wentz has been discarded into the trash heap, he has outlived his usefulness for the Vikings after being beaten and battered for 5 weeks like a piñata. The Vikings, is it official? Did they sign Johnny Wolford? Because I know that was the reports. I know that Pelissero had said sources were that they were going to sign Johnny Wolford to the practice squad.
They signed him to the practice squad.
He was coached by Kevin O'Connell with the Rams. He spent training camp this year with KOC protege Grant Udinsky in Jacksonville. Some experienced depth behind J.J. McCarthy. Another guy that, if you give him time, Teneby, he can complete passes. Well, he can. If you don't give him any time, that's why he's on the practice squad, because he's has a little bit more trouble when he doesn't have time to throw. It's an art form. If you, you can call it an art form, and I guess I would. Which it takes a real knack to be able to do that. This isn't really a Vikings note, though it does involve the team they're playing on Sunday. Did I see where the Lions signed Aiden Hutchinson to some massive?
Yes.
Was it? What was the number? 140 million? Is that the number I saw?
180 million over 4 years, 141 million guaranteed.
Okay, 140 guaranteed. I'll tell you what, that the organization is top notch right now, but they have signed so many players to massive contracts. I don't know how they better win soon, because I think Goff makes a healthy amount of money. We know Hutchinson does now. Who's their J-Mo?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
The other wide receiver just signed one.
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams signed a massive deal. I think Gibbs did also. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I also think, signed. So they got plenty of money that they've spent. So they better cash in now. Cash in, cash out. Cash in, cash out. You'll hear the Vikings-Lions game on this radio station Sunday. I believe it's a noon start. Coverage will begin at 10 on this radio station. Opening kickoff set for 12 noon. As you look towards the Vikings game, Teneby, is there, other than seeing if McCarthy has learned anything or can at least play more like he did in that one quarter against the Bears than he did the other 7 quarters, anything else you're looking for, I guess, to see if O'Neal and Darris are healthy, or at least healthy enough to play? If they play and they're effective, that does give the Vikings a much better chance. Mark Craig wrote about it. He's NFL writer for Fish Wrap Factory Westside. Did you see his piece yesterday, Teneby? He wrote, how would the Vikings have done if Danny Dimes had stayed with the Vikings? And his whole point of his piece was, it's really about the protection afforded quarterbacks. The Colts offensive line has been healthy the entire season. The numbers he had were astonishing. I think they've I could look it up, but every starter has played every game. They've played almost every snap. And when you have a good offensive line that is healthy, and they're all, we realize that, they are individual linemen, a center, 2 guards, and 2 tackles, last I heard, but they do work in concert with each other, right? And when you have the same guys, game in, game out, playing at a high level, well, no wonder you're going to put up numbers like the Colts did. So I guess his point was, everybody's pining for Danny Dimes, and he is doing a good job, but it goes back to what we said at the very beginning of the show, Teneby, and what the text messenger was alluding to on Paul's intercepted text messages, is that when you give any quarterback time to throw, they'll generally carve a team up, and that's what Danny Dimes is doing right now, because he has excellent protection from an excellent offensive line. And I just looked at the most recent power rankings, and it's hard to argue. And again, I always mention this every time we talk about power rankings, because as you like to say, and you're right, the real rankings are the standings. But it's fun. We like list radio. It's lazy radio. I'm as lazy as it comes. Most of your power rankings list the Colts as the best team in the NFL, and right now it's hard to argue. 7-1, and they're not just winning. They're not winning squeakers. They're not rallying from fourth quarter deficits. They're pounding teams. They're winning by double digits. It seems like most games, and I think a lot of it does have to do with the offensive line. And so, I would, if the Vikings' offensive line is beat up as it's been this coming Sunday, and if it's the same, then McCarthy's got no chance. He's got no chance.
The season's got no chance.
Right, exactly.
Without it.
That's exactly right. So, I think we hear something from. When are injury reports? They come out Thursday, but don't we hear practice reports today?
Well, KOC was on with PA yesterday.
Okay.
And he basically insinuated that JJ is going to start Sunday.
Right.
And I would imagine there'll probably be an announcement today. I don't think he's going to drag it on even more. But you're talking about the old lineman?
Yeah, I'm talking about the old lineman. If they're going to be limited.
But even that, we have seen with Christian Darrisaw specifically, there's been multiple times in the last month where he is a full participant on a Wednesday and then doesn't practice on a Thursday.
This is true.
Right?
This is true.
Even if it says Christian Darrisaw full participant, I don't know if we can garner anything out of it.
Yeah.
But the O'Neal one, yes.
And yeah, you're right. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'm gonna look for that piece by Mark Craig and take a look at some of those numbers. It really is. It's really interesting, and it just goes to show you cliches are cliche for a reason, because generally they're true, and games are just they're won in the trenches. That's just the way it is. Let's pause and return. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. For all of your electrical needs, visit affordable-electric.com. They're shockingly affordable. By the way, ROK TOK next here on the Fan.
We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, challenged us, or just made learning fun. Now's your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominated Outstanding Public School Teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
Couple 13-14 pastime comedies tend to be excited and delighted to be joined by Brian Oak. It's time for ROK TOK.
I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to, speaking of what Tana was just talking about, dedicate this edition of ROK TOK to my 6th grade homeroom teacher, Mr. Bunker, at University Avenue Elementary School. The Mr. Bunker.
No, but what's the name of the school again?
University Avenue Elementary School.
University.
The University. Yeah, exactly. That's my alma mater. Just the best teacher I ever had, and I think about him all the time. And, I think teachers do a lot of good work, and they do land that special connection. My ex-wife, a teacher, lifelong teacher, still is to this day. And the number of people that have come up over the years and been, you literally changed my life. You saved me in 7th grade, that kind of stuff. Teachers do make a difference. So whatever Teneby said and wherever he said to go do that thing and pay tribute to your favorite teacher.
I wholeheartedly agree. I brought up the teachers that are most nearest and dearest to my heart. That would have been my 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Culleton, my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Kaiser, and then at Brown Institute, longtime Channel 5 weatherman Roy Finden. Those are my very best instructors.
Where'd you go to elementary school, Hoover?
The L.O. Jacob.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And then I went from L.O. Jacob, I went to Adams School, because Adams School opened while I was at L.O. Jacob. It opened in 1968.
Right.
And so I was there. I christened the school. I was one of the first students.
Well done. I was in one of the first at Northdale Junior High.
Northdale, yes.
Because I lived right on the border of Coon Rapids and Blaine. So that all fed into that and made friends that I still have today there.
that ain't working. That's the way we do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free.
Where's that?
You play your guitar on the MTV.
There's that.
But not so much anymore. Remember when MTV first started, they played the Buggles or the Bugles?
It was the Buggles. Video Killed the Radio Star was their first track, followed by, I can't remember which one it was. Was it Hit Me With Your Best Shot? But Pat Benatar was the second video, yeah.
I'm reading a piece from The Guardian from across the pond, and it says, the launch of MTV in 1981 ushered in a new era of music, showing music videos 24 hours a day. The television channel redefined artist marketing and launched the careers of such artists as Michael Jackson and Madonna, whose public personas became inseparable from the gripping, frequently controversial clips they produced to be played on the service. Now that chapter of music history appears to be drawing to a close, with MTV's parent company, Paramount, announcing that its 5 dedicated music channels in the United Kingdom, MTV Music, MTV 80s, MTV 90s, Club MTV, and MTV Live, will cease broadcasting.
Wow.
After December 31st. The flagship MTV channel, which broadcasts reality programs such as Catfish, The Hills, and Geordie Shore, will remain in operation.
Well, because that's the only profitable wing of what they do. I mean,
what'd you just call it? Geordie Shore?
Is that what it's called? Geordie?
Yeah,
Jersey Shore?
No, Jersey Shore is the American version. The Brit version is Geordie.
Yeah.
Geordies are people from the north of England and often sort of looked down upon as working class or not as educated. Geordies are more salt of the earth types. And so, yeah, Geordie Shore, Jersey Shore, they just happen to have a nice analog over there in the UK.
Were you ever a music video buff? Because
deep. I still am. And some people still put their heart and soul into it. But to me, MTV, part of this is their fault and part of it's not their fault. They started moving away from music. They really were responsible more than any other singular outlet for not only the birth, but the really first true reality TV explosion. And you can't begrudge that. I mean, people like what they like. But MTV proper, which is why they ended up coming with all these splinter channels later on, MTV proper stopped being about music a long time ago, well into the 90s. And so they made a conscious effort to change the focus of what they do despite their name, but then also the advent of the internet in the late 90s and really exploding in the early 2000s. There are so many other avenues to market for video product and musical product in general. I mean, radio faces the same challenges, but so I watch great videos, and great videos are still being made, but they're all available at the click of a button online, and you can watch your favorite whenever you want. Tenna, I don't know if you're old enough to remember. Do you remember, and Common, I don't ask you because I just don't think you would have cared. When MTV was so popular, as we're getting out of the 80s and into the 90s, there was a feature on cable called The Box, where you could dial in or punch in and for 99 cents order your video, and then your video would queue up and eventually your video would come along. Does that ring a bell?
I don't remember that at all. No.
Okay, that's probably a little before your time, but this is very early cable days. And I couldn't figure out how that model worked because I'm like 99 cents for every 3 to 4 minutes. That's not anything. But they were around for a couple of years, but then I don't know what happened to them.
I've watched a handful of videos where it's because for instance, if I listen to a song on YouTube, for instance, it always comes with an accompanying video, and a lot of them are the video so there are a handful I watch, and I can understand the allure to them, but it's much like people will spend time. What do they call it when you watch videos on
binging?
No, Snapchat and all
scrolling.
Scrolling, is that what we say? You're
scrolling or doom scrolling. If you're just sitting there going forever, if you're just you can't stop and you've been at it for 4 hours.
That's the phrase I'm looking for. Doom scroll. I've never been a doom scroller. It never does watch a dog spin a plate on his head while riding on the top of a subway car just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, but you only have to put up with 10 seconds of it, and then you can go on to the next thing.
I know. I'm not arguing with the people that like. I'm just saying, for me, it's never done anything for me. I don't have any interest in watching them at all. But I do find this because I brought up the Buggles song, because that was going to change. Radio was going to die, right?
Right.
It wasn't going to be anybody. Everybody was going to want you play your guitar on the MTV.
Right.
That ain't working. That's the way you do it. But now it looks like it's come full circle. And because, like you say, because it's available on the click, because almost every song that's released still comes with the video, does it not?
Not all of them, but a lot of them do. I mean, if they're trying to promote it, they know that there's still, they're going to want a video in the club. Believe it or not, people still go out clubbing. Somehow that survived the pandemic. And online, people need a visual element. Of course, with Spotify, things like that, you can sit and just listen to music, or you put it on and it goes throughout your house. But if you're sitting there actively looking, or you're a particularly big fan of a band, I mean, there are still the videos with, hundreds of thousands of dollars in budget, if not millions. It's not the same force that it was, but we are so saturated in a multimedia environment when it comes to any form of media that there's got to be, if it's going to be a killer song, it's got to have a great video to go with it. I was watching videos this morning.
Very, very, very good. You said you had a couple of items.
Oh, yeah, just a couple of quick items. Nothing too fancy. This one I don't know anything about, but I think it's just noteworthy because it's popular culture and it proves the power of, power. Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, have confirmed their relationship with their first public appearance as a couple in Paris. Of course it's in Paris. And again, I don't really care. In fact, I don't care at all. But it's noteworthy because we're talking about the leader of an entire country and formerly one of the biggest pop stars out of America. They've decided to make it a thing. And it's been going on for a while, but now apparently it's official. And I just know in this season where things are falling apart and it's cuffing season, it's getting cold and people want to, hook up and know that true love is possible. Even at the upper echelons of power and fame, apparently you can still find true love, which I think warms everybody hard. And then this one, I knew this would be you because the world's greatest hype man, the first thing you think of in hip hop when I say hype man, let's turn this one to Tenna. Tenna, who is the most famous and most iconic hype man in all of hip hop?
In all of hip hop?
Yep.
Flavor Flav?
Correct. You are, and because he is,
I was hoping you were going to make me say Puff Daddy.
I'm a big Flavor Flav guy.
He's not a hype man. He's a Mace with, if anything, was his hype man. But it's, Flav was not the primary rapper. He would get a verse here or there or throw in a couple of phrases, but he was all about Yeah Boy and the big giant clocks. I mean, he is iconic when it comes to hip hop. Well, now Flavor Flav is apparently completely jacked, according to the headline of this article in Billboard, to be the official hype man for USA bobsled and skeleton teams at the 2026 Winter Olympics. Now, the reason this hits close to home for me is one,
because you're a Flavor Flav guy.
I loved Public Enemy. I still think Public Enemy is one of the most important American hip hop bands that ever existed.
And was Flavor Flav a member of that band?
He was. He was the hype man behind Chuck D. And so he did get some rapping in there. Got a couple B-side singles that were his own. But he was.
Nobody raps like Nordo at the end of PA show. I don't know
I'm going to be honest, man. That guy's ability and that guy's innate flow are kind of startling, and he does it on the regular. He's good.
Well, and not only that, I've had the opportunity because, our show follows that. I'll go into the studio just to, once every couple of weeks to just catch up with Nordo, and he'll be writing the rap. To me, it's like being on a fly on the wall when Paul Simon wrote Bridge Over Troubled Waters.
Right.
I mean, it's that. No, I'm serious. It's the same thing. Watching him put the lyrics together for the rap, it's astonishing.
He's so good at it that it sounds effortless, but I know it takes real work and years of practice and getting that. But I mean, you look at Nordo, if someone who had never met him before, you were to look at Nordo and say that guy has mad flow, they would laugh in your face. They'd be like, no, he does not. And in fact, he absolutely does. But the other reason I love the Flavor Flav announcement is skeleton is my very favorite Olympic winter sport.
Mine too, especially around Halloween.
Yeah, well. Yeah, that's a good one. Bobsled's fine. Luge is fine. Two-man luge, still unusual. Not sure how that got started.
I bet you'd be really good at the couch luge. I know I am.
Couch luge.
If they had that as an event, I would be a gold medalist.
You know what? I was so good at couch luge, I didn't bother going to the practice, to the tryouts. But skeleton, just you, head first, 100 100 miles an hour, head first, laying down on a little sled. There's nothing between you and complete oblivion. There's a reason
it sounds like playing quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Not well, I mean, but if you give them a little more time to get centered on the bobsled or on the skeleton sled, then they'll be able to complete the run.
Do you know a singer actress named Renee Rapp?
Oh yeah, very well. I mean, I follow her. I guess I don't know her well. I follow her on TikTok. Her music's not my style, but she's good at the internet. She's good at social media.
Well, the only reason I bring her up is because I'd never heard of her, but I saw a story that says, hold on, I saw it, Renee Rapp.
I know she canceled her last 3 shows because she's sick.
Because of vocal issues.
Correct.
Do you know what those vocal issues
I don't.
are?
My knowledge of her does not go deep. I am not your one-stop Renee Rapp destination.
Right.
But my understanding is that just off Broadway, she kind of made a name for herself. And she's got a sassy, young attitude, a good voice. She's good at social media. She's very much of the hip now with it and wow, I believe you call it. Mm-hmm. And she's very much in that space. She's very good at social media. She's got a thing happening, and she's going on this tour. She was just here a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago. I can't remember exactly. I think she played at the Armory, so she's playing decent-sized venues, but she's very young, and I think that it's pretty common when you're young, especially when this is your first big headlining tour, that you kind of go all out. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's not sick and just burnt her voice out trying to rock out at all these shows, give the fans what they want, live up to the expectations. I don't have any idea what her actual situation is. And her songs, to me, it's kind of cool, young, Gen Z pop, not your typical radio stuff. I don't think she's ready for that, but she's good at what she does, and she's got zillions of fans. So
the highlight of every Brian Oak appearance here on Rock Talk is, of course, our favorite segment,
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank. Rock Rank.
Rock Rank. One more time. Come on.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Okay, I think you mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I thought, hey, that's a good Rock Rank idea. So now we're going to do it today. Your top 5 frontmen in the history of music.
Now, this was a tough one.
Does Meat Sauce and the Wailers count?
Well, we'll have to wait and find out. All will be revealed. Genius.
We'll probably wait till number 1 before that one comes
Exactly.
up.
So don't hold your breath. To be very clear on this, there are a lot of people that qualify for this. But boiling it down to the top 5, that's why you have to call in the experts. You need someone who's willing to make the tough choices. Mm-hmm. I did not include a single woman, not because I don't believe, and we've talked many times, there are all-time legendary, brilliant.
We'll do that another time.
Exactly. So this one is just dudes and just rock and roll, and I went with a combination of personal taste, but also impact. Iconography matters. I mean, the reason that we remember certain frontmen is not... Say that
word again?
Iconography?
Iconography, I like that.
Well, that's your pedestalizing. And,
I thought iconography was like what you did with a special kind of writing.
Here we go. Yeah, no, it's got a lot of graphs and maps involved for sure. But when we turn people into... When they become cultural icons, they're there for a reason because they had a lasting impact. They were larger than life. Their charisma was literally off the charts. It is killing me to not include my favorite frontman going right now, Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age on this. But trust me, in my heart of hearts, Josh, you're currently number 1. But I'm going all-timers here. So starting at number 5, a guy who ended up taking his stage name from the name of the band he fronted for many years. They were great as a band, but he became genuinely iconic, truly a singular face and force in the world of rock music when he went solo or just moved out in front and took the band's name for his own, and that would be Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper.
There's no Marilyn Manson with Alice Cooper, and Marilyn Manson has said as much, and maybe a lot of people are like, good, no Marilyn, but you can't deny that the guy's had an impact. When it
you
comes
don't even have to like him.
Well, you don't even have to respect Marilyn Manson. That guy's done some dirty dog stuff on the sidelines. And that being said, I've seen him live a half dozen times, and I like Marilyn Manson.
Is Alice Cooper what did you call it? The calligraphy? No.
Iconography?
Is iconography, or do you like him, or both?
Both.
I was never an Alice Cooper guy.
I like the band era better than the solo era. But when you talk about somebody who took a persona and crafted an image and seriously, and was able, a part of being a front person is not only are you articulating the words that go with the music, but you're the face of the band. You need to have the charisma to be able to tell the story. And then in addition to telling the story, the amount of props that became involved, the amount of theater without detracting from how good the rock was. Anybody you've watched do that over the years owes a huge debt to Alice Cooper, because he carved out new territory. It's going to sound silly to some people, but Alice Cooper's a pioneer, man. He is a pioneer.
Number 4, best frontman in rock history.
Number 4, and some would put him at number 1, is the monkey genius, the street fighting man. Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones is absolutely one of the greatest and most iconic frontmen of all time. You a Mick Jagger guy?
Yeah, I like the Stones very much. Very much.
I mean, the Stones are as famous as it gets. And again, their music is great, but it's really variations on ripping off Chuck Berry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they were ever considered to be this musical powerhouse, but they had an image, they had a style, and that was largely defined through the lens of the guy out front, telling the stories, good looking, free. You know, the Beatles were so squeaky clean, even though they were brilliant, much more brilliant musically. But to have someone be a little dirtier, a little rock and roll, a little more, dare I say, sexualized. Yes. Mick Jagger brought that in a way that no one had done it prior to him.
I remember seeing a quote from Mick Jagger many, many years ago where they said they had a not a bitter rivalry with the Beatles, but they were both the two biggest bands at the time.
It was a friendly rivalry. They'd play each other's stuff for everybody,
and,
or each other.
I saw where he once said, every time the Beatles would release a song or an album, they would go, I don't know how they do it. They had the, because they were, their music was so different than anything else that was being played. And he was just astonished at how they could do it over and over and over again. I just read another piece where is it called Beggar's Banquet?
Yeah.
Okay.
The album?
They were releasing the album Beggar's Banquet, and they were doing like a private release thing. McCartney showed up, and apparently he had like a EP of like 2 songs they did, and told the disc jockey to put that on, and it blew everybody away, and everybody was talking about that instead of that. And I guess Jagger was a bit annoyed by the whole thing.
Well, understandably so, but again, then it speaks to, it's a friendly rivalry, but the word rivalry is still very much in that phrase. Speaking of Beggar's Banquet, a very quick aside, if anyone knows the cover of that, there's a beautiful, the bathroom at the record store I work at has been redone to mimic the entire Beggar's Banquet milieu, the design flaw. Number 3, do you want number 3?
Yes.
Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I've been going through a personal Led Zeppelin renaissance lately, between just listening to the records again, but also watching that great documentary, Becoming Zeppelin. They just... Again, now this is a band with real musical chops. Everybody at every position was the top-notch performer in the field, and there's no doubting that Jimmy Page was the true genius in that band. But again, in this time where rock was, I mean, it always was with blues and even Elvis Presley, but in an unprecedented form, sexuality was being pushed to the front, right? And so in addition to unbelievably wild and inventive blues rock vocal chops, Robert Plant was just a sexy MFer. There's no way around it. He was, and again, when you think of lead singers, there's not anybody.
The gals loved him.
Oh, well, but so did the dudes, man. I mean,
the gals loved him.
Loved him.
As a
that's part of the allure of rock and roll. That's part of the, and I've seen lists where people put him as number 1 all time, and I'm not mad at that at all, because I love Zeppelin, and I think that he really was unique, certainly of the time, and really even since then, of people at that level. Number 2. This one will not be shared by many people, but I think that he absolutely made the band what it was.
Jim Morrison of the Doors.
No, but he was very close to making this list, because so many people hate him. He's so polarizing, but he was the personality. He was the persona of that band. The same as this guy, Australian. And he had been in the music industry for years, was just now kind of schlepping gear and doing tech stuff for a little Aussie blues-based rock outfit. And when their lead singer didn't work out, they asked this guy to give it a shot, and he did, and ended up helping them to become one of the most important rock bands internationally of the 1970s. And despite his death at way too young an age, their legacy would go on for decades and decades more, and that would be Bon Scott of AC/DC. Bon embodied this weird spot. To look at him, not a handsome man, not a terribly alluring person just to see sitting there. But what he did, the amount of menace, because rock and roll to me, if it's really rock and roll, it should be a little dangerous. There should be a little sex. There should be a little danger. You shouldn't always feel safe at a rock show. And He was this perfect combination of menace and somehow, despite the fact that he was very average looking, he had genuine visceral sex appeal. He, to me, embodies what a rock and roll frontman is, if you don't mind the greasier and grimier side of rock and roll, which I absolutely do not.
And number one must be Queens of the Stone Age guy, right?
That is correct. That is incorrect.
I thought you thought he was the greatest frontman of all time.
I never said that. I said he's my current favorite frontman.
Okay.
No, number one all time, and if anybody wants to challenge this, I'm cool with it, but I have so many arguments as to why you're completely
going
wrong.
with Freddie Mercury.
I absolutely am going with Freddie Mercury. Think about it. A dynamic, super talented, unbelievably charming, and frankly, his voice, the vocal chops alone, even if he just sat still in a folding chair, would have been stunning. But when we talk about the theatrics, the signature standless microphone that he could hoist up and lift around, the not full-blown dance moves, but the sort of just the choreography, the rock choreography that he brought to it, and the passion that he brought to it, we've never seen his equal, and I don't know that we ever will again. I think he's number one all time. What about you, man? Who are some of them you love?
Jim Morrison of the Doors.
I agree.
David Cassidy, the Partridge Family.
Also a fine choice.
And Davy Jones of the Monkees.
Not really the lead singer, but okay. Not really a front man, more of a side fella, a little short English side fella.
Yeah, I would have to look again. I did not check with Tenby with
right. Well, that's why I like to check, because
I get that.
Then I can organize my thoughts a little bit. You know,
I get that. So I would put those, but there are many others.
So many others.
I was always a big fan of Eric Burden.
Yeah, because he was great. He outpaced that band. He outshone that band, which is why he went on to a solo career.
So there are many.
I thought Meat Sauce should have been on that list.
Yeah, and the Meat Sauce could be on
There are a lot of honorable mentions. Look, if Jim Morrison doesn't make the list, but he's in the honorable mentions, Meat Sauce should be happy with his placement here. He knows how I feel about him. How I'm always at home, dancing around to the Wailers like Tom Cruise in Risky Business.
Let me ask you a question.
Hit me.
I think I've been told you have a podcast.
It's true, actually, and just saw the numbers recently. It's more popular than I thought, so a humble thank you to everyone who's ever checked it out. But yeah, it's called The Brian Oak Show. It is an hour long, anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour, talking to area musicians, entrepreneurs, politicians, whatever. It's very, very upper Midwestern centric. Is it iconographic? That I don't know. We're still working on that.
Right.
But you can find it on the free iHeartRadio app. 527 episodes deep, The Brian Oak Show podcast.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you then.
That's Rock Talk. We'll take a break. When we come back, it'll be time for 53410. What you got for us?
Could we be hearing this again in Minnesota?
You like that? You like that?